we're going to be doing some thoracic rotation, spine movement. This one's really important because it's something that I would say 99, if not 99% of people I see in the gym do this incorrectly, and almost no one has something like this in their routine. And what that starts to feel like, so maybe you're someone who does a lot of sport, maybe you're someone who does a lot of golf, maybe you're someone who just wants to move well and age gracefully. This is a movement that is necessary for your spine to be able to do. And it also is going to help you perform better in things like golf, in things that require you to rotate your body. But also, if you're sitting a lot, there's a good chance that all of these muscles involved, or some of these muscles involved in this movement, are very tight and can cause joint aches or pains if we don't activate them and we're not able to use them correctly. So this movement is that important. Learn how to get in some thoracic rotation throughout our torso. So for this one, I'm going to use a wall. That's going to be really important, especially if it's your first time doing this. And then I'm going to use a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, I've also worked really well with using a small ball for what I'm about to show you on the wall, or even a small foam roller. All of those work beautifully, and that's all we're going to need. Talking thoracic rotation, I'm talking everything above that lumbar spine. So we're starting at that waist, and then you're going to be moving all the way up into your head. And while we move this part of our spine, we're learning to move this part of our spine and keep the rest of our spine still. So that's what tends to be challenging, because we're used to moving all in one segment instead of being able to independently move half of our body. Our core is going to be involved a lot here, because our core is one of our main functions, is to be able to rotate and move one area and block movement in other areas. So grab your block and meet me up on the wall. So I'm going to go block belly button height on the wall. I like my belly button. If this feels really uncomfortable for you, you can put it a little higher, a little lower. And the purpose of the block is to block. It's using it to block the motion. So if I have you push this block into the wall and keep it here, you can't move anything else. So it makes sure that all of the movement is happening where we want it and blocking it where we don't. So this is really good if you've never done this before. So belly button to the wall, block to the wall. You're going to think about driving your feet in the floor, equal weight, all parts of your feet, big toes drive down. So I'm turning on my core, I'm activating all of this to keep the lower half still. From there, hands are going to cross, shoulders are down away from your ears. We're going to first find some flexion towards your body. So you're going to round your spine, shoulders down. I want you to lean forward until you start to feel a nice big stretch in your upper back, in your shoulders, or in your neck. And then you're going to keep pushing that block into the wall, keep driving your feet in the floor, and lean back. So we're coming here, rounding forward, finding some spinal flexion, and then we're finding some thoracic extension, leaning back, opening the chest. I have my clients do somewhere between 5 to 15 of these, moving nice and slow. And how you can gauge how much to move here is that when I lean forward, I'm looking for the spot where I feel stretch when I come forward. For me, that's in my kind of my upper back. And then when I lean back, where I'm feeling that stretch, keeping this push into the wall, keeping that core engaged. For me, I'm feeling this in my neck, but you could feel your shoulders. You could really feel anything on the upper body. So we're doing 5 to 10 of those, moving nice and slow. And then next movement, you're rounding forward again. And now we're going to keep pushing that block on the wall. This is the part where we're getting into that rotation. You're going to twist one way. Elbows move towards one side of the body. Round forward again. Move towards the other way. And where I start to feel this one, I start to feel it in the middle of my back, but you can also feel your obliques, your core begin to turn on here as I move one way and I move the other way. And again, this thing should not be moving. It means that you are not blocking the movement well enough. So if you feel that object moving, if you feel your block moving, move less. Find less range of motion so you're able to complete this movement without compensation. So I'm rounding forward, and again, 5 to 15 of these, moving nice and slow. I'm feeling these straight in my upper back today. It honestly feels like a really good stretch. All right, once we've mastered those, you're going to lean over towards one side. So we're rounding forward, leaning over just like we just did. And now we're going to start to lean back. So push the block into the wall. It's like you're tipping a cup back behind you, leaning into one of your shoulders. And then we'll come through center. Our chest is open. Our gaze is starting to move back. And then you're going to round, make a circle through that opposite side. So I'm coming over, rounding forward, Lean back, 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 back into that shoulder. Begin to open through your chest, open through your spine and your neck. And then we're rounding, coming forward the other way. Move nice and slow here. We're trying to explore this range of motion, explore this circle, because it's likely that this is something that you haven't done before. So feel like what this feels like in your body. Again, we're not trying to force the range of motion. We're just trying to find movement without compensation and just kind of feel what this feels like in our body today. And then once we've done one side, again, somewhere between 5 to 15, you'll do that same thing moving through the other side. We're flexing forward, shoulders down, elbow moves over towards that other side. We lean back, back, back into that shoulder, finding some thoracic extension through the neck, through our spine, through our thoracic spine, through our cervical spine. And then we're doing it again, rounding forward, leaning back, tipping the cup, moving towards center. And then last one, rounding forward, shoulders down, back, back, back into that shoulder, leaning back. Beautiful. Good. And after we've done between 5 to 15 of those, we feel really confident about keeping that block into the wall. I will show you the next variation. So this is where I would start for anybody new to practicing this, because you can make sure that you are blocking the movement everywhere else and getting the most out of this movement. Once you feel really competent with this one, I'll have my clients move on to the floor. Out to the knees, you're welcome to grab a pillow, place it underneath your knees if that's a little bit uncomfy here on the floor. And then you're either going to find a high kneeling position for me, or you're going to sit all the way back onto your feet. So either one, high kneeling or sit all the way back. There's another option that if you don't want to find a seat on the legs here, you can place a couple yoga blocks underneath your hips and you can sit on it. And that's probably what I'm going to do today because that feels best. But we're finding a nice kneeling position of some sort. And this position works pretty similar to that one because we're sitting down, this can't really move very well, the lower half. And then we're going to do that exact same thing. So shoulders, arms crossed, shoulders down. We're going to begin to flex forward until you feel some part of your spine stretching. And then I'm going to go straight into the circles here. So we're going to lean over towards one side, tip the cup over towards one direction, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We're keeping that core nice and engaged, coming through center because now nothing is blocking that movement. So we just need to be a bit more aware of keeping that tension throughout the whole body. You're thinking about driving the tops of your feet into the floor and squeezing that core as we find our thoracic rotation circles. Again, I'm not trying to force the movement. I'm not really trying to move my body too hard here. I'm just seeing what the range of motion looks like because this is something we can work on with other movements. And then again, same thing to the other side, shoulders down, lean back, back, back into that shoulder. And again, to come around. Beautiful. I'm going to show 2 more like that. I'm squeezing my glutes, squeezing my core as I'm beginning to tip back. Good. And then I'm going to do one last one here. Good. And while you're doing this one, it is really, really common to feel pops, to feel a lot of things stretching, for these to feel really foreign. Because again, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, this is not something we practice. Another area that you might feel that you probably weren't expecting it, especially if this is not something you've ever done before, is your QL. So you can feel the muscles on either side of your spine here start to engage in your lower back or a little bit lower down your spine. That is really normal. They are helping us navigate through this movement. They are activating quite a bit. And that's great because our QL is one of our deepest core muscles, our quadratus lumborum, and it helps us be able to do this movement correctly. And it's one of those muscles that's notoriously tight and achy. So doing something like this can make sure you're getting in an adequate amount of strengthening for it as well. So this is an amazing movement to help with your joint aches and pains. It'll help your golf game. It'll help pretty much any sport where you need to rotate your body. So give this one a try and subscribe for more like this. Happy moving.